Hi everybody, it's Chris at the Cloverdale Transit Authority, and this is a video I'm making on a day when it's very, very cold here at home. And it is currently 5 degrees outside. It was -1 overnight. Tonight it's going to be -13. So I've got some things going on. Took care of work this morning, and now I'm just kind of making a video that originally I was excited about making my first one of these videos with the new Lionel Catalog coming out. And then the catalog came out and I wasn't excited about it. And, I was going to make this with my buddy Kyle from Beltline Hobbies. And then I said, hey, I've got some honest things I want to say, and I don't want to put him behind the curve with Lionel. So I'm just kind of doing this. I put a thing out asking if you wanted me to talk about this, and some people said yes, some people said nothing. So for those of you who said you wanted to see it, here's the video. Those of you who aren't really interested in seeing yet another Lionel 125th 2025 catalog review or commentary, you can just turn this off if you want. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about this. And one of the things that I hear a lot of my friends that also have YouTube channels, they all kind of said the same thing. Well, we're not going to talk about the price, okay? They're just going to talk about what's in the catalog. So as somebody who used to own a company and, has dealt with a variety of businesses and different corporations, and I feel a need to talk about the pricing and talk about the business model that Lionel has been laying out for a number of years. Now, again, this is all my opinion, and my opinion on whatever product is in here. Again, it's my opinion. You may have a different opinion, and that's absolutely fine. I'm just telling you this is how I perceive it. But I also want to talk a little bit about this business model. And again, I don't have an insight as to what their financials are or what sells better than something else. I'm just kind of doing this from my gut. So anyway, so the catalog itself is a beautiful publication. I actually have a paper copy of it as well. And I looked at this and said, hey, this looks to be pretty good. I love the layout on here. This particular page I like. It's kind of the history of Lionel. And Lionel is a major American brand. Maybe not be one of the largest companies in the United States or the world, but its brand is kind of like Kleenex or Band-Aid. It's synonymous with the product. Most people, especially those outside of the model railroad community, when you say it's a Lionel train, you basically know what it is. You know about how big it is. You know what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it smells like in some cases. But, you look at that and you say, Lionel train. To a lot of people outside of our hobby, a Lionel train is synonymous with any toy train or model train. So anyway, so this is a real cool page. I kind of skipped past the index and everything. So let's just kind of go into this. Talks a little bit about the 125th anniversary. Again, that's really cool. For as many financial perilous moments that Lionel has had, the fact that they're still here 125 years later is an accomplishment unto itself. I think that's really great. Anyway, so they introduce this right away with the new build-to-order Commodore Vanderbilt Hudsons. And, these are kind of cool. I like this train. I have the 1999 Rail King MTH Commodore Vanderbilt. It's one of my more modern trains, even though it's already, quite a few years older. But if you watch the channel, I like post-war stuff. Doesn't mean I don't like all this legacy stuff in Vision Line. I think it's super cool. I got that Santa Fe Super Chief Lion Chief set, which is just kind of a starter set for getting into all this electronics and so forth. And I love it. It's just so cool. My wife loves it. We really love running that train and making it make all the sounds. And it's just really cool considering that everything that I've been running up till now has basically been what you would consider today, especially a toy train. But so I love this particular locomotive. I love streamline locomotives, and this is one of the early streamline locomotives. I like the fact that they have the passenger cars that are pre-war inspired, as it says. And then they've got the gold 125th Vision Hudson, Vision Line Hudson up there, and it says Joshua Lionel Cohen on it. And it's gold plated, and it's kind of like, if I was going to spend that kind of money, I mean, $2,000 on engine and the tender, I don't know. I'm just going to say this right off the bat. I don't like gimmicky trains. I don't like the Halloween trains. I don't like the Christmas train. I mean, I like the Polar Express. That's cool. But I don't like gimmicky trains. If I'm going to spend this kind of money on a Commodore Vanderbilt Hudson in O scale or O gauge or whatever, I want it to kind of or mostly look like the actual train. I don't want it to just be specialized. To me, this stuff is kind of like it's for display. It's not really for operating. So that's kind of my opinion, but I do dig the red, because I've seen that. I've considered picking that up a few times. The pre-war Lionel Commodore Vanderbilt, I think it was called the Red Comet. It doesn't look like that. It kind of looks like that. It's very toy oriented. It's tin plate. But anyway, so yeah, these are kind of cool. I look at the passenger cars, and again, I think 4 passenger cars for $1,000 or almost $1,100. We're already getting into our conversation about the pricing. Who is this marketed to? This must be marketed to the high-end collector. That's going to be my assumption, because first off, it's not, the playability is not really there. It's these are really for display, especially the gold one. But they would look cool running on people's model railroads. But it's who is the market that this is aimed at? And that seems to be the pattern going through this entire catalog. Who is the market based on the price point that these items are aimed at? So, all right, let's keep moving. This is the oh, by the way, I want to go back to this also when we look at these sort of pre-war and post-war inspired trains. I've got a comment on that, and we go over to this here. So we've got this S2. I think that's really cool. The price point on that, even though it is, $1,400, is a really good price point for what you're looking at there. That S2 with, a legacy steam S2, that's a really good price point. One of the downsides of this, I think, is that it is for 072 curves. Obviously it is. Look at it. It's long. So, again, you're limiting it to people with larger model railroads. I mean, 036 is what I have on the stuff that I'm running, and you guys have seen that on the channel on my YouTube shorts. But, once I get something built, I am going to make it a little bit bigger. Probably won't be this big. I just won't have the room. So I think that kind of limits that, but that is really cool. And of course, this, the other piece, the Scout, although that is far better than the Scouts that were actually put out, we're looking at $1,000 for that. I guess that's a good price for what you're getting there. But then you've got to add the passenger cars, and these are the post-war inspired passenger cars. They're obviously much more detailed. They're longer, but they have that Lionel lines and that green color, the Maplewood, Springfield, Chatham, and what is that other one down there? I can't even read that. Anyway, so yeah, these are cool. I have silver versions of the originals, but so this is my point about the post-war inspired. Yeah, it's inspired by it, but I don't feel compelled to go out and spend $1,400, as cool as that is, on a legacy S2. I have the original turbine steam locomotive that Lionel put out. I've got the original. Why would I want to buy this as a collector per se. If I'm a collector, depending upon what I collect, but if I'm a Lionel collector, like, from a historic standpoint, I want the original. It'd be kind of neat to have the original sitting next to this, or these original passenger cars. But, again, if I'm going to pick one or the other, and by the way, I bought my turbine, I think it was early 1950s production. I bought that with the tender for $80 at a train show. So, and it smokes like crazy, by the way. All right, so now we go into, the Vision line, kind of a pre-war inspired set and a post-war inspired set. And the pre-war inspired set is really cool, and the fact that it, has all of the, no pun intended, the bells and whistles. Yeah, that's neat. But I do dig the the Trainmaster, the FM Trainmaster down there. I have an original version of that caboose. I have an original version of all of those cars, and I have the original post-war version of that Lackawanna Trainmaster. And I know some of my friends on YouTube said it's a face only a mother could love. I love that locomotive. First off, it's powerful as a model train, but also, yeah, it looks like a brick. But that's the coolest thing about it. It doesn't look like all of the modern diesel locomotives, which, like modern cars, all kind of look the same. You look at that. Is that an SD, whatever, blah, blah, blah? It's hard to tell because they kind of all look the same. This, as a diesel locomotive, was very unique. Wasn't pretty, but when you looked at it, you could tell it had power. So, these are some things that people can pick up. I think the prices are kind of okay. But again, why not just go out and buy the original? All right, now we get into the Lion Chief stuff. And again, my first experience with Lion Chief came this Christmas with the Santa Fe Super Chief. And it's really cool. The fact you have a phone app, you have the little handheld remote. It's neat. Now, this one actually comes with, instead of just the starter set with the circle or the oval of track, it comes and just a plug that goes into it. It comes with a transformer. I have that same transformer. Those are very inexpensive to pick up, probably because that little power pack is only going to feed so much power to that track. It's kind of like the thing you plug into your laptop computer, and if you start having accessories and whatever, it really can't feed it. I have a video coming out of opening up and setting up the Lion Chief Santa Fe Super Chief, and you'll see, like, right off the bat, I had ZW transformer. The two tracks were running under the tree, and I was kind of like, okay, how much power do I give this? And in order to activate it and to start, connecting to it with Bluetooth and then using that remote. So this kind of gives you the same experience I just went through. Now, there are the Maplewood series Lionel Lines green passenger cars. Those are very close to what they actually look like originally. You see how much smaller they are. And that's a really cool train, and I would kind of love to have that in a Lion Chief because it's kind of got that prairie locomotive. It's supposed to be kind of like a K4, and it makes all the noises that you get with Lion Chief and all that. But I've got that original train, so I mean, it's just like buying it. That's the tough thing about going out and buying post-war Lionel locomotives. After a while, you're buying the same exact train over and over. I do like the New York Central AA set. Those are beautiful. I would love to have those in an original post-war set. I've got the original dump car. I've got the original tank car. I've got that original caboose. But now down here in the lower corner, you see that they're have the gantry train they're reintroducing, and I believe that is TMC. Yeah, it's TMCC. That's cool. Okay, that adds more playability. $500. Woo, that's getting kind of tight on that. I mean, even with these Lion Chief sets, I mean, this Lion Chief set is $549. That's about $100 over what that type of train was last year. Now you come down here and you're looking at $1,200 for this AA set of these F units. Why is that price going up like that? these are Lion Chief sets. These are supposed to be starter sets. Keep them in that affordable. I mean, even at, $550, there's a certain level of affordability there. But I'm going to talk about that in a minute. All right, so let's just keep flipping through. Not interested. You take the same boxcar tooling, you slap a different graphic on it, and you're asking $100 for it. Okay. Again, what's going on with this business model? What's going on with these prices? The hand car is kind of cool if you like that sort of thing. Again, more 125th anniversary stuff, just little things here and there. Now, here's one thing I'll say. Everybody says the same thing. The pens are really cool. I've ordered a set of these pens already. And I'm going to be doing a review of these pens on my channel, just like everybody does a review of a new locomotive. I'm going to review the pens because the pens are really cool, especially the Santa Fe pen. Going in here talks a little bit about the Hallmark stuff that's coming out. This is kind of cool because on here there's some staples of Lionel history. There's the KW transformer. There's the little gate guard shack. Here's a Texas Special AA unit. Here's the Hellgate Bridge. There's the train station, the water tower. I can't tell what these other locomotives are. This looks like a prairie over here. There's the little Lionel billboard signs, and here's the power station. Oh, and there's the little gate crossing. So it's got all of these key little things throughout Lionel's history that everybody recognizes. I do like this. My mother and father-in-law are Thomas Kincaid fans. They have some really nice Thomas Kincaid stuff. It's not necessarily my thing as far as artwork goes. I just like the subject matter. I like this subject matter because I did a lot of that this year, and I have a lot of friends who put together some great Christmas railroads. So this has a real inspirational feel to it. All right, so now we're getting into the scale stuff, just the regular run of this stuff. Here, again, this is a Commodore Vanderbilt. That makes a lot of sense to me. It looks like the Commodore Vanderbilt. It's designed to be painted and look just like that particular locomotive. And, of course, the Hudsons that they're coming out with this year. These are really pretty. They better be pretty for that price. Again, who is this aimed at? $1,800 for a tender and a locomotive. And I'm sure they do fantastic things. I'm sure they're amazing, all the lights and the fan-driven smoke and the whistle steam and all this other stuff. But, how many of these are they selling? I don't know. I've never seen their numbers. Are they selling 1,000 of these in a year? Are they selling 10,000 of these? I doubt they're selling a lot. I doubt they're selling the same number of these trains that Lionel sold starter sets in the last few years. And frankly, going back into way back into especially the post-war era, they probably weren't selling as many as they did back then. Even though I will say, if you do a price comparison and compare it to inflation, Lionel train sets back in the day were expensive. I think I read one time that I think the Hudson that came out in 1950 or 51 came with a set of cars, and it came with some track, and it came with a small transformer. That cost more at that time than a new suit did. So yeah, they weren't inexpensive, but we're not pushing the limit, folks. We've pushed beyond the limit on what is affordable, and we have to ask again, who are these products aimed for? Who's the buyer? Who are the buyer they're aiming for? They're very pretty. I love them. I'd love to have one, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money. That's crazy. So here's the set, the passenger set. Again, 2 passenger cars for $600. I mean, they're beautiful. I keep saying that. There's nothing wrong with this product. It's the price. A friend of mine said, he's starting to wonder if you could bring the price down if you made these in the United States. Making them overseas is adding a lot of costs. They do a fine job over there, but it's adding a lot of transportation costs, which right now are very expensive. So maybe Lionel needs to think about what are the economics of making this stuff domestically Is it still not? Is it still prohibitive money wise, price wise? But have they looked into it? Maybe they have. Maybe they haven't. I'm throwing the idea out there. Again, more Vanderbilts. Now, here's the one where I have to ask you, what in the hell is going on? Here is the 20th Century Limited. Comes with 6 passenger cars. It's $3,600. I mean, for $3,600, I could get an Amtrak trip across the country with a couple of days on the train. I'm being hyperbolic, of course, but really, let's ask ourselves, who is this aimed at? How many of these are they going to sell? All right, I'll keep going because I feel like I'm starting to beat a dead horse here. I know everybody loves it. Everybody loves the big art, auto carrier. And if you're into modern diesels, these are cool. They definitely are. I'm not a big fan of the graffiti because I'm not a big fan of graffiti on actual railroad cars. I think a boxcar is a beautiful thing. I don't need somebody adding their questionably artistic bent to it. That's all I'm going to say about that. Here's some without all the scribblings. But, are they worth $350? It's a plastic car, I don't know how much of this is metal, but okay. Now we're going into Legacy. Again, beautiful trains. These prices probably aren't too bad for this stuff, but it's neat. I'd love to have one of these if I had the expendable income, but I have the original, so I'm good with that. Now, here's that. I love Shays and Heislers. I've spent probably 3 or 4 times I've been down on the Cass Railroad in West Virginia, so I've seen these in operation. They are super cool. But for $1,700, and I know you're going to say, hey, Chris, go look at any Shay locomotive or any Heisler. They're always expensive, even in HO. That's true. But, how many of these are you going to sell? If you're adding a percentage onto your production cost, is it really this expensive? Now, I know there's a lot of details on this, but are there ways to make this more affordable? And again, who is this aimed at? This is probably aimed at the high-end collector, but how many of these are you going to buy? If you add this number together with other stuff, how many of these are you going to buy in the course of a year? These are kind of neat. These Atlantics. Again, $1,000. Wow. $1,000. This would have been like a $700 to $800 locomotive and tender. Now it's $1,000. Now I know the other thing I should say is when you go to your local dealer, Beltline Hobbies is my local dealer. Some of you guys go to Legacy Station, Gruzbowski's, Mr. Muffins. Some of you go to online dealers and you get a little bit off of this, probably about 10%. It's still pushing the top end of that. Now, maybe Lionel's figured out, hey, these guys are giving everybody a break so we can push the number up a little bit. Okay. I look at this, $1,000 for even a Legacy Atlantic is pricey. Sorry. Now we're going into Legacy Diesel. And again, these are cool. And man, they're big. I've seen some of the folks running these. These are scale diesels, and there's a power and a non-power. And I know there's a debate out there about, what you should buy depending upon what you want to use. My friend Ray has been having that conversation with people online. And I always laugh at the cost of a non-power unit. There's nothing in it. It maybe has a light. What is $430 in that non-powered unit? Really? Come on. And it's not just this, but I see them on eBay all the time. Non-powered unit, $80 for, like a post-war thing, or MPC diesel, MPC era diesel, $80 for a shell on a running frame with a couple of trucks. Really cool paint schemes. I like it. I like the Norfolk Southern. I like the Conrail. I'm not a big Conrail person, but I love it. I think they're pretty. That blue is definitely pretty. The Southern. I mean, they're all nice. Here's the Canadians. They always have pretty locomotives. Now we go into the Trainmasters. Again, I think these are cool because they are just like a giant bull in a china shop. It's just this massive block that's pulling cars. It's a throwback to, whereas all of these, they all kind of look the same. This had a totally different look. You may not like it, but it definitely spoke to an era of when dieselification was coming along for the railroads. Dieselization. They were buying a lot of new diesels. Again, I love the chassis here because that was the railroad of my youth. But these GP35, and I have a GP35 that is a MPC era chassis. It cost me $60 at a train show, and it's great. Doesn't have all the noises and everything. Really, if I wanted to, there's so much room inside there. I could have somebody install that, but yeah. So these, kind of all look the same, and they just have different road numbers on them. Getting into these are kind of now. I do have a comment on this. Wheeling and Lake Erie is our local switching railroad here in my town, and they the people that run Wheeling and Lake Erie used to be executives in the Denver and Rio Grande, and so they bought some of their old locomotives, and the Wheeling and Lake Erie locomotives. If you've seen the actual locomotives, the road switchers that they have, they look very much paint scheme wise. The logo's very similar, the colors are very similar, but I see Denver and Rio Grande diesels around town all the time because they've bought them, they haven't repainted them and so forth. So this says this is a Wheeling and Lake Erie SD40-2, and where I would say yes, I know that I can see a Wheeling and Lake Erie diesel that says Rio Grande on it, but I don't really see anywhere else where this says Wheeling and Lake Erie. If you look at the one below it, a lot of times on the ones that I've seen in town that still say Rio Grande, right underneath the cab window, you see it says Wheeling and Lake Erie, just like this SD40-2 down here. And normally it just is big lettering, Wheeling and Lake Erie. But if you see a Rio Grande out there, it just, you'll see Wheeling and Lake Erie somewhere else on it. I don't see it on this at all, so I don't know if the picture was not done correctly or what is it finally going to look like. So but I can tell you for $700, and I don't really have a way to run Legacy unless I'm just running conventional, I would rather have a custom painted Wheeling and Lake Erie SD40 than to have something that barely says Wheeling and Lake Erie. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Here is our F series FAs. With the power cars and everything. These kind of throw back a little bit to, the Alco engines that, I love so much, those really cheap 1960s Alco engines. So these FAs kind of speak to that as far as the honoring the post-war stuff. That was just the very end of post-war. They're not too bad expense-wise. I think, if I had the extra... Now, it depends. We're talking $1,200 now for the engines. But, now, you know what? Sorry, I take this back. Now I looked at this a little closer. That engine is expensive. The powered B unit, I guess that's an okay price for that. All right, let me back up here. This is for the set. And this is just for these two separately. Oh, okay. So you could just buy that for $550, but you could, and then you can get the non-powered unit for $550. So we're talking about this. And then the set, which is everything together, is the $1,200. Is that what I guess I'd have to read it up here and see. I'm talking about this without reading the details because I really didn't look at this page very much. Sorry, I should have done my research. But anyway, that's actually not a bad price if you're just going to buy the locomotive for $500. I might look at doing that. Like there's a B&O, that's pretty cool. There's a Pennsylvania. I probably would get the B&O. But anyway, so I'm going to read through this a little bit more. Some of them have a Mars light. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, I see. Here's the Mars light. So it's just that one that has a Mars light, or there's two that have the Mars light. Okay. So maybe that would be worth the extra money just to get the Mars light. So anyway, so I may look at these. I don't know. I mean, that's really expensive. I don't want to spend that money, but I just look at that and I think, okay, now we're talking about a price point we can deal with. The Donner Pass set. I could make a really inappropriate joke here. I'm not going to. Here's some auto racks again. Here for over $100, an empty gondola. Sorry, this one has something in it. It's a little bit. What is it? Oh, that's interesting. So this is 129. So it's only a little bit more with the little radioactive canisters in it. Okay, well, anyway, so this video is starting to get a little long. So let me just kind of flip through here and just get back into one of the things I wanted to talk about, which is, and of course, here we have, our kind of traditional stuff. Prices, again, they're up $100 from last year, I think. So I remember it. Expensive passenger cars, battery operated sets. This is what I wanted to talk about, the battery operated sets. I told Kyle at Beltline Hobbies, get a bunch of these. This is an affordable price point for parents who want to get their kids a model train with a track and everything else. It's also an affordable price point to get a model train underneath the tree every year. Now, kids are gonna love this. Kids are gonna love Thomas. Maybe the Christmas train. The Barbie train, I tell you what, here we go back to what Lionel found out with the pink locomotive back in the day, even though it's highly collectible. But little girls like trains too. And you know what they like? They like a train that looks like a train. Little boys, parents, everybody, they like a train that looks like a train. Thomas, yeah, okay. Littler kids, they love that. That's great. But I just don't think that the Barbie train, again, little girls, they love trains that look like trains, just like little boys, just like adults. The thing about the Christmas trains, they're cool. Polar Express is cool, although Polar Express, you may be able to run that not during the Christmas time, but, if you want to run trains all year long, do you really want a Christmas train? So here we go. These are cool. Battery operated. They've got the Lion Chief type remote. They have water vapor effect. Probably it has sounds, right? Yeah, activated announcements, bell and horn. So all the stuff that the Lion Chief electric locomotives have, but here are these battery operated locomotives, and at the price point, this is, $149. That's great. That's where, I'm not saying you can do all that other stuff this cheap, but this is the entry point for most families and for kids. Polar Express battery operated, Harry Potter battery operated. Now we get into the electric stuff. It's always been those military trains. These are cool. There's the gantry train again. The Keystone set for $399. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's a set. It's a real simple starter set, but this is Lion Chief. That's where you need to be. They've been very successful with these sets at that price point. Granted, I know that the higher end stuff is for the collector, but people want to get into that higher collecting stuff. They're priced out of that. They're just stuck in the Lion Chief mode. Track cleaning car, everybody seems to like that. Here's some more, locomotives. Not a bad price point. It's okay. The color schemes are kind of, whatever. Here's the diesels. I like RS3. Those are cool. Conrail RS3, that's kind of neat. $229. Yeah, Lion Chief, I guess that's okay. If I had an extra $229 laying around, I probably would get this Conrail or maybe this Western Maryland. All right, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so this should be cool to me. Again, I don't like gimmicky trains. If there's anything in here I would buy one of these Bantha milk, the blue milk box or tanker cars, but it's not sold separately. It's only sold with this set. Okay. Then they've got all these other box cars, and again, same tooling, just with a different sticker on the outside. I mean, they're cool because they're Star Wars, but they're really for display. I like the light up lightsaber thing, but it's just the one side, just that little X. It's not anything else. These are kind of neat, sort of the aquarium cars. It's the trench run on the Death Star from A New Hope. That's neat. Has a little light up lasers on it, or maybe that's just an image. I like the Stormtrooper car. That's kind of cool. I mean, I'd have to see what it looks like in real life, because that I will tell you right now that image of those two Stormtroopers they cut and paste in there is an image, promotional picture from the film. That's not the actual two Stormtroopers in there. So same thing over here. These are promotional things. So is this just flat cutout? Are these three-dimensional characters? Is that what's going to happen in the end? Here's the superhero cars. I do like the Superman car because, I'm a Northeast Ohioan. And, of course, Superman was created in Cleveland. So he's a hometown boy. I'd kind of get that. But, it doesn't really inspire me too much. That was interesting. Thomas Kincaid superhero cars? Interesting. Wow. Looney Tunes, that's kind of funny. The Acme rocket car. I will tell you that I have a fellow that came into Kyle's shop, has had the Hogwarts Express, and he said, yeah, I'm not sure I'm doing this right. I'm not sure I'm pressing the right buttons. And so I got a chance to see one up close, and it's a really pretty train. I mean, you could take Hogwarts Express off it. I love Harry Potter, but you could take that off there and just make it a European train, and it's a really nice, it's all die cast, got brass fittings, really nice train. And for that price point, yeah, not bad, but really you could, offer one that just says, Bulgarian Railway, that would be fine. More box cars, butterbeer car, butterbeer scented smoke fluid, more box cars. Then we get into sort of the Lionel stuff and Bob Ross. I don't know how Bob Ross and trains got tied together, but it did a few years ago. Mr. Rogers, why box cars? Why is there not a trolley? Why is there not a trolley? That would have been easy. They already make a trolley. Why is there not a Mr. Rogers trolley? Thomas, yeah, Barbie, again, what? Maybe there are little girls out there that would like Barbie, but I think most of them would like a train that looks like a train. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Here's the trolley. So we got Peanuts. I mean, they just have all of these intellectual properties that they're tying into. And I don't know who buys this stuff. Here's Anheuser-Busch. Here's more, railroad milestones. All these different specialty box cars. These are for displaying. Here's the glow-in-the-dark Alien Area 51 stuff. The Halloween stuff. You're going to go out and spend this much money on a Commodore Vanderbilt, but you're going to buy a glow-in-the-dark purple Commodore Vanderbilt rather than the other one for the same price. Why? You really got to be into Halloween to do that and have a lot of extra money. So sorry, not to insult anybody. I'm just telling you what my opinion is. More Halloween box cars. And again, I like this trailer. I like the other version that comes along later. Here's Christmas. Now I'm flipping through this stuff real fast. Christmas. I like the Star Wars box cars. Those are kind of cool, but $100. It's just different screening on the outside of the same tooling. This is neat. I got the Snowman car from MTH, which lights up and it's really great. but here's a boxcar. It's $100. The MTH one, they have one with trees. It lights up. This just has trees and presents. It doesn't light up. It's got working couplers. Oh boy. All right. Sorry. So keep going through this stuff. There's the Christmas trailer. That's kind of cool. Here's the gantry, Union Pacific gantry. Just different stuff. Fake news. I like that. That's hilarious. But again, $150 for a little building that isn't really like scale. It's just kind of one of those kind of toyish kind of buildings that Lionel puts out. And then we get the back quarter of the catalog is track and power. And then it gets into, hey, what are the things that we didn't sell? And there's page after page after page of the things that we didn't sell the years before. So anyway, sorry this has gone on a little bit longer than what I expected to, but those are my opinions. My biggest opinion here is, who are they pricing these for? Are they pricing themselves out of the market? You can go and get really nice MTH stuff. And again, I love Lionel. Everybody knows. They watch my channel. I'm a Lionel guy. But I can go and I can buy something from MTH that's scale and it's beautiful and save some money. MTH also offers more in the Rail King realm, which is kind of where I work in that semi-scale stuff because of my post-war stuff. But what is the point of pricing stuff so expensive that it limits the number of people who can get into the hobby? I encourage you to go to a train show and pick up used stuff at this point when you're looking at this. Or find yourself a nice starter set that's got a good price point. Or if you're looking to put something under the tree, go get one of those battery operated sets. That's a great deal there. So anyway, that's all my opinion. I feel like I've babbled on for a while. I really appreciate it. If you like this content, click on like, click on subscribe, and click the little bell to let you know when we're going to be putting something else out. I'd like to hear your opinions. Don't beat me up too much on this stuff, but please put your opinions in the comments below. And I hope that when I do another one of these, I have basically what I think is a better catalog. I will tell you, I think that the catalog that came out, the second catalog that came out last year in 2024 was better as far as the items in this catalog. Take the price apart, take the price apart from what they're offering. I think those were cool, the GG ones and so forth. But the biggest sort of pie in the face in this whole catalog here, it's not necessarily the things they're offering, but it's the prices that everything is creeping up to. Yeah, are eggs $5 a dozen? Yeah, I get it. Everything is going up. But, at what point do you basically price yourself out of selling model trains to people? That's the question I want Lionel to ask itself. So, hey, thanks everybody. We'll see you on the next video.